So I'm putting up the monthlies for April 2020, and the video does end rather abruptly because my laptop ran out, which is what I record them on, but it doesn't matter because I'd said everything that I needed to say really. So and also just want to let you know pricing is going to be $33.33 for the month of April. That's one each basically, one reading each at that price. And that's for everybody because last time the offer was only for people that have come before, so this is for anyone, if you're new or if you've been to me before. So that's the price. Okay, lots of love, hope you're all well, take care, bye. Hope everyone's well. So this is going to be monthlies for April 2020. Let me just shuffle my cards up and then we'll see what they want to say. So my channel, if you've not been here before, is where I talk about twin flame process, also known as divine path or divine plan, from my Pleiadian higher self and through my Pleiadian guidance team. And if you've not watched my sun sign readings before, they are slightly different to probably most of the ones you see out there because they're related to the twin flame process. So they basically just talk about that and in different ways through the sun signs. So you could watch whichever sun sign you feel guided to. New Paradigm is about freedom and it is about not boxing yourself off. So, you know, you could watch whatever you feel drawn to watch, rather than, you know, lock yourself down to like a certain sun sign, and you would find something there maybe that's relevant to you. Okay, so we'll just shuffle these up a little bit more. Then we'll start with Aries. Okay, so we've got Two of Pentacles coming out, so that is representative of two people, physical world. And then we've got the King of Wands. This is representative of masculine ego, so masculine energy. Lovers, also representative of balance and the moon cycles, from the full moon to the new moon and the new moon to the full moon. Each of those is one cycle. One more card. And then we've got Wisdom as well coming out in the Hermit. So what we're looking at here, Wisdom is 9, it's completion. So we're looking at the completion of something from a higher perspective occurring between the moons. Now let's say this is the one we've just been through, because we went through one 24th, I think it was, last week, not that long ago, to the one that's coming in April the 8th. So we have got Wisdom coming regarding two people, very much through the masculine template. So this could either be you've got information coming from the one that's working from the masculine template, some higher form of wisdom coming through sometime before April 8th. It could mean that you're receiving wisdom through your internal guidance regarding the masculine energy. It can be that you are understanding something about two people in regard to the masculine energy. You know, masculine energy is ego, so it could be that you're understanding something from an egoic standpoint. You're understanding your ego, basically, I mean. So you could be understanding how the ego is operating. Anything else? Aries. No, I think that's it really. So some kind of wisdom coming out between the moons, basically I would say before April the 8th, in terms of your process, in regard to the two people involved, or from one to the other. It could be either of those things. King of Wands is action oriented. It could be movement coming from the one that you operating from the masculine perspective template. So you could be receiving something there as well. Six is Lovers is 6. It's balance, redressing the balance between two people, possibly between the moons in some way. This one, King of Wands, speaks of the masculine taking action. So it could be there, coming forward between the moons. Okay, so I'll leave it at that for Aries. Next is going to be Taurus. So we've got Queen of Wands, 10 of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles, and the Strength card. So the Queen of Wands is feminine energy, fiery feminine energy. So this is about boundaries, self-empowerment, willpower, assertiveness. Power of the feminine in respect to those things, right? And then we've got 10 of Pentacles, which is completion in the physical world. So we're looking at the feminine. This is also the creative force. It's fire and it's energy, so it's a creative force of the feminine. So it's the power to create in the physical world through intention. Well, they say intention, through vibration, because the intention is only coming through the vibration. Right, so we've got power of the feminine and a completion of something in the physical world. So something coming about because of the feminine's vibration. And then we've got 8 of Pentacles, which is something coming in the physical world again. So this is something that repeats. The number 8 is a spiral. So it's something that comes into the physical world, not just once, or appears in the physical world, not just once, but repeatedly. So you've got something that is ready, basically, to be coming towards you in the physical world repeatedly. It seems like it's coming through because of your vibration, because of the Queen of Wands being vibration and powerful vibration. Also, we've got strength coming out on that. And this is also relates to the masculine and feminine. So it's the feminine is the human and the dog is the masculine, and the feminine is feeding the dog, but really that's just like a metaphor for leading the dog, providing the vibration for the dog, let's say, because the vibration is always created through the feminine energy and then it's fed back to the masculine. So it's like your vibration that you've created that's a powerful vibration. And in terms of that power, this is, like they say, everything that is about, because it's a self-willed process. So it's everything that is not emotional. The power of the feminine is an unemotional state. Okay, so it's like where you're not corded by your own emotions and taken off balance. So when you reach that state, you're able to hold that state. You're able to feed that back to the masculine, so that vibration becomes their vibration. So they're also in a vibrational state. Two compatible vibrational states. They call it conclusion, which is the 10 of Pentacles, which is about the bringing of something into the physical world, basically. So we're looking at in Taurus. I'm going to say in Taurus rather than for Taurus, because like I said, you can look at these, any of these, whatever you land on at the time is going to have meaning for you. And from what they've told me already, that May is going to be a really, really good time for connections taking place and moving forward into the physical world. You could even relate that to now, really, Aries, because we are in Aries, and about how that is the beginning of things, basically, in the masculine moving forward. And then in Taurus, we see it repeating and repeating in the physical world, so coming forward again and again and again in the physical world for some that are ready for that have concluded their vibration, basically, and concluded the masculine's vibration, because that has to come first before things complete and repeat in the physical world. So anyway, I'll leave that there for Taurus. So it could apply to Tauruses, it could also apply for the time of Taurus. Next one, Gemini. So we've got Three of Cups, which is celebrations, reunions, happiness. Eight of Cups, which is, again, it's something that repeats. It's something that repeats emotionally. So we could be looking at these emotions repeating, happiness repeating itself. The Eight of Cups also stands for something coming back from the past, something that was involved in your past, something you had feelings for in the past, and that coming back from the past again. Let's see what the next one is. Justice. So this is like an evolutionary card. Justice is like the outcome, you know, a good outcome, basically. Everything coming right. Got one more on that. And Nine of Swords, which is the ending of the dark night of the soul for the feminine energy. It's the ending of a process. It's the ending of the purge cycle, very interestingly. So if we take that, and we know that that's the ending of the purge cycle for the feminine, we also know that the purge cycle in the feminine is not just the feminines, but it's also the masculines. So it's brought by the masculine for the feminine to purge. So the purge cycle for the feminine can't end until it's time, till all the work's been done for both parties, for the masculine as well. So, but anyway, we're looking at that here being the ending of the cycle, right? So when you reach the end of that cycle, and then you're in a state of happiness, because what comes in at the end of the purge cycle, not just a purge cycle, but the ending of the whole process of the purge, you know, how many years or decades you've been going through this journey for. So what comes at the end of that is happiness, like extreme happiness, lightness of being, and joy, and being uncorded, basically, from what was needed to happen for the purge to take place. So it's freedom from the purge that happens, and it leads to the happiness, which is resounding happiness, which is necessary for the vibration. So this is about a completion phase, because it has to happen before conclusion. And then we're looking at the Eight of Cups, which is something coming back again, right, emotionally. So when we're looking at this for Gemini, we can be looking at here at what is coming back again in terms of the dark night of the soul, despite the fact that we have happiness here. So we just say this, right? We know that there's the dark night of the soul ends in the feminine. That's when she stops the purge. This is what's called completion, where she comes into a vibrational accuracy that's relevant to happiness and a state of let go. Okay, but that is not conclusion, because following completion comes a masculine completion, because the two are connected, and then they enter into the conclusion zone. Before you get to conclusion, stay with me, whilst the feminine is still in completion, there is one final purge that comes in from the masculine, which means that you go through one final purge, one like life or death purge. You could be in full awareness that you're going through that purge, and that it's not you and that it's them. And you could be, you know, a resounding sense of, this is not going to happen to me again. This is the last one that I'm going to go through, and feeling and knowing that as it comes through, because that's the Justice card, right? And that is like, you know, it's the end, and you know it's the final one, and it's like the court ruling. You know, justice is about a court ruling. It's about a new law. It's about sentence ending or being served. It was about the gavel going down and the judge saying You know, that's it. Ruling as they're announced, right? So what we're looking at there could be that for Gemini this month, that they go through that final destination of that one last purge to achieve the result. The result, as well as the fire, pillar of fire, which is a masculine vibration, which I've spoken about before, which is in that card. So we're looking at that. Could be for Gemini. We could also say that that might be happening in time of Gemini for some people as well. It's an ongoing process. Not everybody comes online at the same time, but everybody is due to come online, right, this year. So some people are not working to the same trajectory as me, others are working to the same trajectory. It's also a learning process, so you learn as you go along and you accumulate as you go along. So it's really also dependent on how much you're accumulating and how much you're up-leveling and understanding as you go along the process. Okay, next one is Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. The Fool, which is a brand new journey, 0 point as well. Hierophant, which is representative of the galactic center, which is also representative of the soul and everything that soul is here for. So it's representative of soul path. So we've got 0 point, which is balanced masculine and feminine, brand new journey in the Fool, and we've got soul path and relationship. High Priestess, highest self. It's also like High Priestess is like the void of action in the physical world, because it's intuitive understanding. So it's not about anything coming from the ego or being wanted from the ego. It's about things happening at 0 point because they're ready to happen. Balanced masculine and feminine, 0 point inside each individual. And it's about, therefore, soul action. So the soul takes over and the soul brings in the next thing that's supposed to come in on the path because you're ready. So again, not coming from the ego, which is all about detachment, which is here highest self, and the highest self making the mountains move, right? The highest self making things happen. So it looks like a release point, actually, all of that, because that's 2 major arcana, all 3 major arcana as well. So that's like a really big. So for Cancer, what it's saying about Cancer is something really potent, really big on the agenda. And again, we could be saying that this is right now for Cancers, or we could be looking at in the time of Cancer for some people as well. And then we've got state of no mind, which is the 4 of Swords. So it's all about what doesn't happen in the mind. So it's all about being in a state of disconnect from your own mind, where you're not in any, you've achieved all the awareness you need to achieve, basically, which is a High Priestess. So she's completely knowledgeable about everything that she's been through from a soul perspective. So she's detached from ego. As much as you can be detached from ego in a physical state, because of course you're always going to have one, but there's ways of using it, and there's ways of not using it that are beneficial and non-beneficial to the human experience, and also in accordance or not in accordance with the soul's path. So, but basically this is like complete disconnect going on, and in a disconnect or a void where there appears to be nothing going on in the physical world, that's when things are actually taking shape through the soul matrix, so through the soul bringing things in. So this is what it's looking like for Cancer, right? That you're going to go through a disconnect, and the disconnect is always good, so it's never not good. So when you feel stuck, or you feel blocked, or you feel like nothing's happening, that's actually a really potent place energetically, because that's where things shift. So all you've got to do in that case is release your resistance to being in a void, and if there's nothing to do nothing, right? And just be relaxed. Be relaxed and be as non-resistant as you could possibly be, so that the shift can take place, whatever shift is planned for you at that time. So that's what we've got for Cancer. Less resistance. You might automatically just feel yourself in a place of non-resistance, and you might be quite happy there for some people, you know. because your soul always knows where you're meant to be. So the soul might be saying, oh, this is your disconnect. Enjoy it, feel good, love it. That's what the soul will always be saying. So sometimes all you've got to do is do what your soul wants you to do, you know. Okay, now we've got Leo. Okay, so we've got Four of Pentacles, which is the now moment. We've got Five of Pentacles, which is negativity, relational negativity as well, quite often, because it's about relationship, and it's also about change. So it's, you know, it's not all negative because there's positivity in that change, you know. So things will change. Things always change. Things don't stay the same forever. Everything passes. And then we've got Nine of Wands, which is a wounded warrior. So this is masculine energy. This is ending the cycle. This is ending a cycle of grief and pain and suffering, and that whole kit bag that he contains on his back, filled with his wounding. So that's nearing the end of that cycle of negativity in terms of relationship. So this is speaking of what's going on now for the masculine, basically. Right now, could also be happening for some in the time of Leo. Leo is a very masculine sign, very egoic sign, you know. So this is about purging the ego for the masculine, basically. Let's have a look and see what the next one says. Power of the feminine. Well, I was just going to say, actually, because they're talking about purging the ego for the masculine. He doesn't purge his own ego. The feminine purges his ego. It's all done through the feminine. So he brings all negativity through to the feminine energetically, so the feminine can experience it and release it. So everything that you go through, if you're feminine watching this, that feels like it's not your own, that you don't know where it's coming from, because one minute you're happy and the next minute you're feeling like you're in hell, purging like crazy. See the hell? It's because it's brought to you through the masculine for you to purge it. So we are looking at, therefore, here, right now, in the now moment, Leos, the masculine energy nearing the end of their cycle. So this, if you're feminine watching this, you've got a masculine connection there, a Leo. It could be for them as well, that they're nearing the end of their cycle. You could be also receiving more negativity from them, for you to basically own your power over it, over the negativity. And what is the power over the negativity? The power is not indulging it. So it means that you can purge at the end of this process. These are both at their end of the processes, like two number nines. At the end of this process, the feminine knows that the energy is coming from the masculine, that the negativity is coming from the masculine, that it's all about them. The feminine refuses to take it on board. I mean, you will still feel it. You might still feel anger, you might still feel all the negative emotions. But rather than being powerless against it, you owning it means, because you're connected to them, that you own that they are bringing it. So you know that they are bringing it and you own that. So in your fight against what is brought to you, it feels like you're fighting them face to face. And you may find yourself saying, I do not want this from you. Go away and leave me alone, etc. So that's what we're looking at in Leo. For Leos now, and also for those, I would definitely say, if they've got a Leo connection, or a connection that has got a strong Leo ascendant, or some other kind of Leo in there, or even a lot of Leo in the chart, something like that, because it's about the masculine and what the feminine has to do in relation to the masculine's energy and negativity. All right, so we've got that for Leo. Next, Virgo. We've got Magician, number 1. And then we've got the Page of Cups, which is also really a number 1, because it's the first of the picture face cards, you know, people cards. Let's see another one. Ending. Tower card. Again, 2 major arcana you got, so that's quite important. And transmission. This is the 6 of Pentacles, so this is about the masculine and the feminine connecting through. Can be connecting all sorts of ways, can be connecting energetically. It can be connecting soul-wise. It can be connecting also physically, because Pentacles is a physical card, so it can be actual communication. Did I say telepathically? Because that's coming through really strongly. You see, it's a rainbow, so it's got a multitude of options in how it connects. So what we got in terms of Virgo, Magician, which is something brand new starting. It's also something that you've got all the tools necessary for. So it means that it's something that can come in according to the law of attraction, because your tools is your vibration. So when you've got the vibration accurate, then things are ready to manifest. So really those are the tools, okay, because it's your emotions, it's all of the suits. Cups is emotions, swords is the mind, fire is the energy and the action, and the ego, representative of all of those in, however it comes up. And Pentacles is a physical self and the physical matrix. So having all of those aligned and all, having them all aligned to create the vibration is how you manifest. So your tools are your awareness, really, of all those things. So we're looking at something, a potential manifestation, basically, for Virgo, and a beginning point, because it's a number one, so it's something starting again, or beginning. And then we have got the Page of Cups, which is also brand new beginning. And this card is representative of something that is very, very tentative, that is a baby step, not a massive step. It's somebody, very gently opening a door and stepping through very quietly. It's not somebody bashing down a door and racing through the room. It's something that happens slowly, kind of cautiously maybe, kind of also just very unnoticeably. So, almost like something could be like just sneaking in, really, and taking place without any drama. That's what I'm looking for. There's no drama in the Page of Cups. It's something that just happens that's sweet and innocent, and that is not undemanding. It's undemanding, right? It's very undemanding. There's no drama, and there's no fanfare or drum roll or anything like that. So we're looking at something manifest. It's love as well. It's in terms of love, but when you've got love like that, that's undemanding and that's gentle and that's it's very positive. They say it's very positive, but it's just not. It's not. It's not ferocious, and it's not. It's not demanding. What else can I say? It has deliberate intent, of course, because it's a first card. It's a page, and it's got deliberate intent, but it's got no. It won't go running away with itself. All right, so we've got that, and then we've got a massive ending as well with the Tower. So it's like as something happens, Virgo, something new comes along, something very, very, very low key in these two cards. Because the low key coming not just from like the vibration, which is a Magician, and a point of attraction vibration is a low key vibration, with none of the ups or downs of the lows of the ego or the drama of the highs of the ego, and none of the highs of the high energy or the like the wow moments of getting into the higher self or reading the energy. None of that either. Just an understanding and a acceptance of vibration is your accurate vibration. And then this new thing, right, that comes along, something ending. Well, this is a huge thing that's ending because that thing comes along, whatever it is, because this is the biggest ending you can get in the Tower card. So although something comes along, like another way to see these two cards, like a rose just like starting to form a bud, not like a great big fancy flower with a strong smell, just like a small bud, like, or something poking its head through the earth. it still signifies absolute, complete and utter devastation of what came before in the Tower, because that's what the Tower signifies. So it's really kind of also very potent, and this could come in many, many ways between the masculine and feminine. So we could be looking at that something happening inside of yourself, because you have the masculine and feminine inside of yourself. So it could be a realization, a shift, a download, something like that. It could come from outside of yourself. It could come from a direct communication from the one you're connected to that works from the masculine template. It could be some kind of form of telepathy. It could be a message, a clear message that comes through from them. It could be, very definitely, something that is a complete and utter knowing that comes to you. And I'm saying that because it's got this Magician, got everything he needs. The vibration is accurate. The love, so love is like, it's really this low-key kind of love thing that is just easy and not dramatic. And the Tower, this dramatic ending though, and then this transmittance, which could be like something that might have once been a wow, look at me, I'm telepathic, but when it comes along this time, it's like, I knew I was going to hear that right now, because then you shifted on multiple levels, haven't you? And it's a rainbow, so it's multiples, differences. So a shift that comes that you know that you shifted, or that you knew was coming anyway. So you're no longer wow about your shift. You're like, okay, yeah, I knew that shift was coming, something like that. But also could be direct communication. We're not ruling that out either. Okay, Libra. Two of Cups. So this is the mirror. So this is the mirror, the emotions of the twin flame connection and how it operates. So it's not a direct reflection in the mirror, but it's just it's a mutable operation. Let's put it that way. The emotional connection through twin flames. The emotions in each of them are working together to complete the journey, but not in the way that you always would think that they are working, because it's a very complex operation and they go through different stages and different phases, even though they're working together. Because it's like when one feels one thing, the other has to feel another thing, and then the other will feel another thing, and the other will feel another thing. So it's working together, but it's not all the same, you see? Okay, that's how you can read your connected others' emotions, because when a thought comes in of how you feel and you're in complete and utter knowingness that actually you don't feel like that, so why are you thinking you feel like that? It's because you're thinking how they're feeling, and that's how it's coming through. It is a form of telepathy. Okay, healing, the stars. So this is potential for healing. It's also it's soul healing, and that means soul healing means that healing of the whole of humanity, basically. It's a work done by star seeds. You can see the stars in the picture. So in that effect, it's not some kind of it's everything. The healing is everything. It's for everything, and it is everything. So you could say it's the reason we're here, and it's also the only thing we're here for, and it's everything we do, despite any evidence to the contrary. So even anything that looks like it's not healing is healing. Everything is healing, always. That's what that card states. It's number 7, it's constant. 7 moves, 7 keeps moving, 7 never stops moving. 7's always got something else to do, so it's eternal healing, basically. And the emotions that are in the connection with the twin flames, that's what the emotions do. So you could also say, and you could see that not only are they working together emotionally, despite the fact that they will sometimes feel different kinds of emotions. It doesn't mean that they're in opposition, it means they're still working together. Not only that, But the reason they feel the emotions is not a personal thing. The reason they feel them and they experience what they go through twin flames is because it's a healing on multiple levels for humanity, for the planet itself, and for everything that is. I mean, even saying for the planet itself and humanity, it doesn't really cover it all. It's for everything that it is. It's for everything that is. Okay, so we're in Libra, aren't we? Let's get one more out. And then we've got 5 of Cups. Oh, all the cups coming out. 5 of Cups is a love that exists underneath the surface. So the truth of the twin flame journey, one of the truths, the emotional truth, is that your emotions are not your own. So your human part of you that thinks that all your emotions that you feel, all your feelings for your past, yourself, others, things in the world, your dog, your pet, your cups and plates, your things, your bric-a-brac, your clothing, all your emotions for anybody or anything that you've ever felt that you think are your emotions are not your own emotions. They are part of you that's human, that allows you to be human. You don't take those emotions back with you when you go back to pure vibration, which is your soul, which is your spiritual self. You don't take any of those emotions back with you. All you take back with you is the sensation of freedom and completion and oneness, which is eternal love, which is nothing to do with how you feel about certain things around you in your life. So as you're here being human and having this human experience in your twin flameness, and you're facilitating a journey through the emotions, which is really about a full healing of everything that ever was and always is and ever will be. That's why you're feeling the emotions, right? To facilitate that. And the 5 of Cups, which is about something that lies underneath the surface, right? A love that appears to not exist but does exist. So if you want to get the like you've unrolled a ball of string, right, and you've got the end of it, and if you want to start and say the end of the ball of string is what they've just said about your emotions, let me get one more out. Brand new communication, Ace of Swords. Everything they just said there about your emotions and how they're just your humanness, but they're not your eternal beingness. Your understanding that your eternal beingness is the oneness that is everything else, and we're all everything else, right? So that healing is everything and it's all everything for everything else. It just encompasses everything that ever is or was. If you take that end of the string and then you start to pull it all the way back and you roll it back into a ball, so you're going backwards in your journey to where it started off, where you didn't have that understanding, because that's an understanding that takes you beyond your humanness. It takes you right into the broader perspective. But if you draw it all the way back in, so you're reading it all the way back in and you get right back to the beginning of that piece of string where you didn't know anything about this journey at all, you didn't know who you were, what you were here for, you didn't know what twin flame was, all you felt was this love that didn't appear to exist, but you felt it underneath the surface. So you knew it did. You felt, it was there, but you couldn't really understand it. Well, that's the understanding of it. Because the love that does appears to not exist, that you can feel, the reason for it appearing to be like that is for this. Because at the end of the process that you go through, where you come into this broader perspective and this understanding, is a release from all your emotional entanglements to anything and everything that you've ever experienced. So you come into a place of disconnect, complete disconnect almost from your emotions, which are the nearest point to your humanness beyond your vibration, rather before you get into the ego. So therefore you bring the journey to conclusion, right? So you see the real reason for everything that ever was on the journey. So that's what that's about. And then we've got brand new communication coming out on top of that. So we've got verbalizations and a brand new beginning in terms of speaking. So for Libra, what we're looking at is a complete understanding of the journey itself and how you it's like you draw yourself completely back to your soul self, where you go beyond your cordingness to your emotions, which is your cordingness to your human experience, and therefore you see the experience of the twin flame connection for what it really is. And it starts again. And we get everything starting all over again, brand new communication. So either that's for Libra right now, or it's in the time of Libra. Something like that. What's next? Scorpio. I have to keep moving these out of the way because I'm running out of room. Knight of Swords, which is clarity. So this is like light bulb moments, clear understanding, that kind of energy moving in. Queen of Pentacles, which is stability. So it's groundedness and earthiness, I should say. So it's being really stable in your physical self. Oh, look, King of Pentacles coming out as well. So we've got the King and the Queen of Pentacles coming out. So that's the feminine and the masculine, the manifestation of the feminine and the masculine in their stability in the physical world. Clarity, masculine and feminine. And one more. And completion. And the world, which is completion. So either for Scorpios or in the time of Scorpios, which is coming in November, end of October, November, we've got clarity being received, clear understanding, and then we've got the representations of the masculine and feminine, and we've got completion in terms of that. So that's when it's happening. And from what they told me already, because they told me quite a lot the other day, but that was just about my personal trajectory, so I haven't put it out because it's not going to apply to everybody, because like I say, everybody works to their own trajectory. They just go through the, there's a basics, they go through the same, and timings and things can be slightly different. But you'll know from my previous videos that they told me that all twin flames that are currently out there, that have been out there, are meant to reunite this year, are going to reunite this year. And what they told me was that in the time of Scorpio is when everything ends in terms of that. After that, there's going to be movement around the globe, and these twin flame pairings will be coming together to live with each other and live near each other and relocate to different places beyond that timeline. And that's coming in this time. It's coming in November. So that's what we could be looking at here as well in terms of that. But this is going to happen for everybody. This is going to happen for everybody this year, basically. Either this year there'll be contact, and I would say we're looking at that then by Libra at the latest, because we've got that Ace of Swords, right? And movement as well, to be near each other. And that will be either, if it's not happened by November, it will be happening from November towards the end of this year. So that's what they're telling me anyway. So that's what we've got for Scorpio, basically. But maybe it's going to happen now for Scorpios, and that's why they're showing it in Scorpio as well. Completion. This is also stability and balance, the Queen and the King of Pentacles. So it's your groundedness in your earthly sense can only ever come from your vibration as well. It can only ever come from everything that you've ever released, and everything that you've ever discarded, and everything that you've become detached from, and everything that you've let go of. And once you've thoroughly let go and you're thoroughly cleared of absolutely everything, then you're stable in the physical sense. The only thing that ever takes you off balance in a physical sense, out your physical groundedness, is your own ego and your own cording yourself into worries and shame and regret, impulse behaviour, reactions, actions, all that kind of stuff. So we'll be looking at the completion of that actually in Scorpio right now as well, like coming into stability, more stability through clarity and understanding around the ego, because swords is the ego, completion of the ego in Scorpios. That would be just for the feminine as well, I think. Because when they told me that yesterday in a different way, they said it was coming for the masculine in around the time of Scorpio. So for Scorpios now in the feminine, that understanding. Three of Swords. Father Sky, this is Sagittarius. Four of Cups, so this is Four of Cups is memories, emotional memories, and the past. Three of Swords is pain. Also stands for self-harm as well. You know, it's like a feeling of wanting to hurt yourself. Father Sky is masculine energy. And then we've got Page of Swords, which is message, lightning bolt type message, something written, email, text, that kind of thing, more than verbal. Right, so in Sagittarius, we're looking for also Three of Swords is like the moment of pain, so it's a birthing moment as well. So we're looking at something birthing from the masculine energy that's painful. So this is something that's painful to do. And then we're looking at, in regard to the past and memories, and we're looking at a message. So here we're looking at Sagittarius, so possibility for Sagittarius this month of receiving communication from the masculine that's causing them some pain. Just the act of doing that would cause them pain. If it's been for a long time that they haven't done it, it's going to cause them some pain, some nervousness, some anxiety, some stress, some feeling like, you know, something like that. To make a connection here with the text or the email. So basically that's what that's saying. Text or email coming from out of the past. It could be for Sagittarians that they'll be getting it, or it could be coming from a Sagittarian or heavily Sagittarian or a Sagittarian aspect masculine. And it could also be happening in the time of Sagittarius, because sometimes they talk like that as well. So that's what we've got there. So just leave that at that. It's quite an easy one. A simple one, I should say. Capricorn. Six of Swords, which is let go. The Devil, which is energetic connection. Five of Swords, which is dark to light. So that's a transmutation of the ego, dark to the light. One more. And Five of Wands, which is a vibration. It's also it's fluctuating vibration, or a volatile vibration. So it's like an unsteady, basically, vibration. Changeable, I should say. A changeable vibration. Well, what have we got? Who are we in again? Capricorn. Right, so Six of Swords is about letting go of anything that comes through the mind. So that is anything that you could be possibly thinking at all. So it's literally a state of thought starts to come into the mind, and you breathe and you let go of it. And then for the thought never activates, okay? So that's what letting go is about. Process of letting go. Not even getting into the thought. It's not about getting into the thought and philosophizing it, or dissecting it or discussing it. It's about not even allowing that to take shape inside the head. The let go point is before that activates, right? So that's why they say it's with the breath. It's like you see the thought starting to grow again, like the thing growing out of the ground, like its little head coming up out of the ground, and you quickly nip it off, let go. Okay, so we've got that. Then we've got the energetic connection. That's in the Devil. So that is the connected twin flame connection. And we're talking about let go and how it affects the connection. Right, so how does let go affect the connection? Let go affects the connection by facilitating a stable vibration. this process of letting go is part of the process of transforming dark to light. Right, so when you let go of a thought, you instantly go into your highest self. Your highest self is not a thought, it's not a thought process, it's not thinking. Your highest self is a disconnecting from your thought processes and your thinking and your philosophizing and your judging and your analysing. That is your highest self. So it's not, your highest self is none of those things that they just said. It doesn't involve the thought process, and it cannot be analysed, and it cannot be philosophized, right? So as soon as you go into your higher self, what happens is, where you're in a state of no mind, you are facilitating the receipt of intuitive information. So that is information that comes through your higher self by osmosis. I should say comes through your higher self by osmosis. So that is the things like clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, which are things that just arrive, particularly if we look at claircognizance, which is things that just arrive in the mind because your mind is free. Your mind has got nothing in it. Your mind is empty, and therefore just sudden words can pop into your head, or sudden knowings can come into your head, the intuitions, right? Because your mind is able to receive them because it's not clogged up with all your thoughts. So the transformation from dark to light is in essence, the deleting of the thoughts and the letting go, which returns you to a state of light, which is the state of receiving in terms of everything they just said, right? So we're looking at that, how it affects the energetic connection and the vibration, because they're talking there about a changeable vibration. So if you can clear your mind and let go and just allow it to be clear without all the questions of why you go through this dark to light, the transformation, right, from dark to light, which is you arriving in your broader perspective. Your broader perspective is when you're completely in that void, the void being a state of no mind. When you're completely in the void, you're the broader perspective. That is your conclusion point. And that is from there where the energetic connection mutates or transforms back into the physical world, because it mutates and it transforms back into the physical world through the vibration. So you're looking at changing the vibration so it can become, so the physical matrix can show you a representation of that vibration. So you're creating your reality. Well, we know that through the vibration, right? But in terms of twin flames, you're creating your reunion through your vibration. And this process of letting go and state of no mind is what does it. Because that is the transformation of dark to light. The light is nothingness, it's void of attachment. You know how I said with this one over here, which was Libra, about how the emotions are never the same, or not always the same, between these two at all times, because they call it, people talk about the mirror, right? The emotional mirror, but it's not quite like that. There's one emotion that is the same all the time, and that one emotion that's the same all the time is, in essence, the oneness that you experience when you go back to your eternal beingness. As people talk about the unconditional love, that's the essence of oneness, which is unconditional love, which is a state of non-judgment and freedom, and it's a feeling, actual physical feeling, rather than a mental concept of a feeling. So it's not a, it's not a romantic aspiration. It's a feeling in your heart chakra. It's a feeling of anything in your heart zone. is that feeling of oneness, is how you feel it in the physical sense, in the physical world, because it can't be thought, that oneness, that eternal oneness. It's not a thought-based thing. That's why it's not a romantic thing. It's a feeling that comes from your soul, so it comes through your heart space. So it's like an overwhelming feeling of love that you can't put into words, basically, which is what that is bubbling under the surface, right? Because that's how you feel it, and how it's always there, is that you can't put it into words, but it's overwhelming. And that's why people don't believe it, because they can't believe anything can be that overwhelming. They think you must be mad, but you're not. So basically, that feeling, right, which is that eternal beingness, which is that oneness, which is, see how it's all facilitated by a void, because when you reach the end of this journey and you release all your emotional attachments in your current lifetime, so it means that you don't feel anything for anybody, and that's not a negative thing. It just means that you're not corded into feeling things for anybody or anything, which means that you're feeling your centeredness, which is actually what they talked about in the next one. See how these things all flow into one, because they're talking about the groundedness, is sorry, let me just get back in here. There we go. The detachment, right? The detachment from feeling anything about everything, that brings you into where your only feeling is feeling good about everything and anything. So it's like, instead of your emotions all be going outwards and trying to attach to other things for you to have feelings about other things, your emotions are all drawn in. This is a point of detachment where your only emotion is feeling good. And that is irrespective and irrelevant of and in relation to absolutely everything and anyone and anything. See, how it's so different from emotional cording, where you feel like this about that person, this about that, and that, and all about your past and da, right? And that person you're connected to from that romantic, aspirational thinking thing that's not a feeling at all. And when you're drawn all the way back into your point of detachment and you're in a space of no mind, because you're not attaching through your thoughts to what you think are feelings, because you're only feeling good. And that doesn't require thinking about anything, which is what they just said there. That is actually the final facilitation of the dark to light process, the detachment process, which is the conclusion. And then what takes place because of the feeling good space. The feeling good space, which is the down to earth space, which is a completion, which is what they spoke about in the last set of cards. And following that, the vibration comes into the masculine as well. I'm going to put one more down on that. Temperance, transference. This, when they talk about the emotions not being the same in each individual at all times at the same time. No, because when you go into a void of attachment, being the feminine and in a void of attachment, what happens in the masculine is that they receive your void of attachment, so they no longer feel corded by your emotions, and therefore they are free to move in accordance with their soul. Because whilst you're cording them from your human point of view, with your emotions, which are your human thing, they can't move in accordance with their soul. It's like they're stuck because of your cording, because you've got them pinned down under a net. I'm not saying there's anything wrong or right, I'm just saying it's how it is. You're pinning them down under a net with your emotions, but at some point you regroup within self and you remove all that. And that's how it finishes this journey, pretty much, the alone part of it. It's when you're regrouped within yourself. But just because you feel detached doesn't mean that you are detached. You're never detached. It just means that you have to be like that so that they can move into freedom zone, so they're no longer corded, which means that they can start to grow back. They grow back, so it's growing back through the vibration, you see? And that's what temperance says. The vibration transfers from you to them. Your feeling good point of attraction that becomes your vibration transfers back to them in this point, in the space of conclusion, which is also the space of detachment. That's that. Okay, and the next one, that was Capricorn, wasn't it? So we've got Aquarius, Wheel of Fortune, Sun, Ace of Pentacles, and one more, Mother Earth. So this is like rebirth energy. So we've got this, the wheel being the cycle of life. So you view this in terms of the twin flame story. It's a cycle of the twin flame journey. So starting at, you know, your point of inception, which is your birthing into the physical reality, where then you're moving through your lower half of the wheel, which is you're taking on board the wounding that allows you to increase your momentum towards, well, actually more wounding. There's quite a lot of wounding on this, like about half a wheel's worth of wounding, and then when you come into the releasing of all the wounding, so this is where where the dark night of the soul starts to kick in, which is where you work through your own wounding, come to a better understanding. Well, actually, you work through your own wounding, so you heal that. Then I would say maybe a quarter, right, of a wheel, loosely. Let's look at this loosely. That you're going to heal from that wounding. So this is, this is your wounding. Yes, you've got some healing from the wounding. Let's just do it like this. And then you come into a better understanding of the wounding. So once you've healed, you come into actual better understanding, which is that all wounding had to take place for you to heal from it. And the wounding is not actually your own, it's what you incarnated for as a service. So all personal feeling towards your own path changes to a point of broader perspective where you see it from that higher perspective. And then you have even more higher perspective come in, because you have then, following that perspective, the understanding that the one you're connected to, you are not connected through this emotionally aspirational lens that at some places down here you possibly thought you were. You're connected for a much higher reason, and the part of the reason that you've gone through that wounding is also because of them. And part of the reason for your dark night of soul is also because of them. So you come into a broader perspective of your whole life, your whole journey, of that person you're connected to, of everything. By the time you get to the end of the wheel, you're in a point of conclusion, they say it again, where you've completed your story, you've completed your trajectory, and there you're at the sun, right, where it's all good. And everything is good again. And it's also good from a much higher perspective, so nothing will ever be bad again. Not the way that it was on that half of the wheel where, you know, life was hard and difficult and dark and shameful and regretful and sad and all the other things. A life will only arise from where you complete the wheel, which is your vibration, your point of attraction. So that's going to reflect back in your whole life. Also, your complete existence will start to is lived through an evolutionary lens, rather than the lens of wounding, or even the lens of healing, or even the lens of the twin flame story, or even the lens of anything else. It's lived through the lens of an evolution of beingness, right? Which is the same as your oneness and your eternal beingness and your evolution. You're an evolution in a human body. You have evolved. And then we have Ace of Pentacles, which is brand new beginning in the physical world. So once you complete this story, this twin flame process that you go through, and you arrive at the destination, which is all good, which is the sun, and then it all starts again. So it's like you are returned to earth, like the man who fell to earth, right? You're returned to earth. So you return, Mother Earth, you return to earth. to start a new life, basically. So I know it feels like along this journey, all this journey that you go through, particularly this part of the wheel, like maybe 3/4 of this wheel, that your life is not your own, and that you don't know why you're here, and that, you know, sometimes as well you wish you weren't here. But by the time you get to the end of the wheel and it all starts again, you know exactly why you're here, and you know that it's all good. It's all, you can just let go of all of it, basically, that was, because it's no longer relevant, because you see better than that, you know better than that, and you started again from a completely new place where you're thoroughly grounded into your reality, but you're also operating from a really, really high perspective, a really, really good perspective on everything. Because your perspective will be, I create my own reality. Your perspective will be, I know exactly why I'm here and where I've come from. Some people, even on this journey, they're going to find out where they've come from. I found out I'm from the Pleiades. I didn't know that when I started the journey, when I got here. You know, a lot of people find this out, everything, more than anybody else will ever know. So it ends up really good, where it started really bad, where you're returned into your human self, and then you get to have the life, and you get to get everything that you didn't have all that time on that wheel, on that first half of the wheel, and probably most of the second half of it. You get all those things come back in that you missed out on, or that you felt you missed out on, or that you never had, and all that kind of stuff. Everything you ever wanted comes back in. And we're looking at that for Aquarius. So that is maybe now for Aquarians. It could be a sense of freedom for Aquarians right now, and a sense of enlightenment, and also maybe entitlement. It could be in the time of Aquarius as well, which will be the beginning of next year, which things are going to be so different next year for everybody, particularly for those of us that have been on this journey for such a long time. The terrain will be completely different. It's going to be so good. Anyway, so that's for Aquarius. What else have we got? One more, right? Pisces, and I think that's it. Everyone. King of Swords, that's vibrational truth of the masculine energy. So that is talking about their vibration, them arriving back at authentic vibration. So that's your creator state. Because if we were just vibration alone and we never had to go through the wheel, we would never have had to go through any of it. You know before you get here that you're a creator, manifester. You just forget it once you get here, until you found it out again. So by this point, the masculine's found it out again and has become it again. 7 Wands, resistance. Knight of Wands, energy moving forward. 10 of Swords, ending in the mind. So this is about how does this, the one that you're connected to, the one that's working from a masculine template, who's also, your journey is to bring not just you into a point of completion, but them into a point of completion, and then you move into conclusion, and then you both arise in the physical again, into a physical reunion. But how do you get to that place beyond your expectations and your hopes and your wishes and your desires? And remembering that those are, in fact, your emotional attachments, all those things that you will be pulled back away from. So you know, therefore, right, that you're not going to get there through those. So you can desire it as much as you like, and you can feel you want it. Call it romance, it's coming from your ego as much as you like. All these things, right? But none of those are your point of attraction. None of those are your vibrational accuracy, or even a consideration of vibration, are they? So you've got to first get yourself there, right, which we've talked about. And then you've also got to get the masculine to that place as well. And that's not only this is not a case of you wanting to, or you don't have a choice, is what I'm trying to say. This is what you're here for, so you are here to get them to their point of attraction. I think my computer's going to cut out any minute, so let's hope it does it exactly when it's meant to, when I've finished. So, excuse me. How you get him to his point of attraction, because this is where you've got to go, get him before this journey's finished. You have to lower all resistance, basically. Not his resistance, your resistance, so his energy can move forward into his operating mode, his healthy operating mode, his point of attraction. So you're lowering resistance, and I said it before, is about ending in the mind anything opposed to the current moment, basically. Your point of attraction is only one thing, feeling good in the present moment, and the feeling good is about nothing in particular at all. This is a complete and utter truth, right? There is no alternate version to that. That is the only thing that you ever really, really need to know. And then you just need to find a way to get there, to being feeling good in every single moment without anything offering any resistance to that. So you, when it talked about your point of detachment and all these things that you feel for, and you think that that feeling part of you is the higher part of you, that is actually the lower part of you. The higher part of you is the detachment, and the detachment is the lessening of resistance. So you are going to lessen resistance to the masculine coming into his vibration by allowing the energy to move freely, by detaching. How you detach is about ending in the mind. So you ending all your anything that comes from the mind, basically. Any questions, any worries, any doubts, any insecurities, any offering yourself any alternate scenarios, alternate opinions, alternate any dramatizing, any drasticizing, any worst case scenario going on inside your head. Just I can only say how much they've been telling me to like not look at the news and not read the news and not listen to the news and not to engage on social media and not to talk to people. You'll notice I've got the comments off, just all sorts of things like that. Just to not be in the head and to not even be acknowledging the thoughts that are trying to get in the head beyond the thought of feeling good. Asking myself, do you feel good? Are you feeling good? What are you going to do to feel good? If this, it's like if I'm get up this morning and I've got a list of things on my to-do list. Half of them still undone from like last year. and I get up with a clear intention of doing whatever feels good, and that's the only thing I'm doing. And it's like I'm under doctor's orders to do only what feels good, right? Doctor's orders being the orders of my guides. You can only do what feels good. If it doesn't feel good, you can't do it. And in terms of the thinking as well, you've got to let go of everything that is contrary to your feeling good. So you've got to let go of all the judgments, right, of anybody else that's ever come into your head and judged you. Not dwell on them, not consider them, not repeat them to yourself, not go over old ground and churn it all up again to check if you're still right about how you let go of somebody who you no longer wanted in your life because they're a narcissist. Just stay in your conclusion of everything happened the way it was meant to happen for a specific reason, because I'm on this journey, and offer no resistance to being in a state of no mind. And that is where you get into the point of